Hey yo, what up, what up, what up? It's another episode of Not Another Christian Podcast. I'm trying to find an intro material. So I'm trying to get an intro for the page. For the podcast. I think it's going to be pretty dope. Just got to find someone to do it. But I got the vision though. It's your boy, Sam with Vertical Expressions, coming at you with another episode. Fresh content. I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't feeling it this morning. I was like, I don't want to do this. But you gotta stay strong. Gotta finish April off strong. As you guys know, we hitting a year. Vertical Expressions, a year of Vertical Expressions. May 5th. It's gonna be dope. I'm not sure how we're gonna celebrate, but stay tuned. We find out. All right, today I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. I say I'm going to try because I said that last week that ended up with a 40-minute long video. To be honest with you, I'm not trying to do these 40-minute long videos. Yeah, I don't even want to listen to a 40-minute long video, so I get it. I'm trying to, I don't know. It's just I get up here and I just start talking and I don't know how to stop talking. Look, I'm doing it right now. I'm talking about absolutely nothing, but I'm talking though. What we want to talk about today? Today we are going to be talking about choosing to do right. Is it choosing to do the right thing or choosing to do right? Let me see. What did I write down here? Choosing to do right. Choosing to do right by you. See, I'm making this video today because I'm choosing to do right by you. Thank you for tuning in again. I'm just getting awkward at this point. Choosing to do right though. I was thinking maybe I should start off with the Bible verses first, because y'all know we got the Bible verse of the week, sort of like my little Bible study of the week. It's what I'm thinking about throughout the week and seeing how I can apply these things to me. If you've been tuning in, then you already know we're going through 1 Samuel. Today we hitting 1 Samuel 15. And let me just it's the whole chapter, but I'm gonna read specific verses. I'm gonna read specific verses. This is verse 2. 1 Samuel 15, verse 2. This is what the Lord Almighty says: I will punish the Amalekites for what they did to Israel when they waylaid them as they came up from Egypt. Now go attack the Amalekites and totally destroy all that belongs to them. Do not spare them. Put death to men and women, children and infants, cattle and sheep, camels and donkeys. And that was Samuel speaking to Saul in regards to instructions that God had given Samuel. And Samuel gave to Saul like, yo, this is what God wants you to do. Now let's fast forward a little bit. Where we at? Didn't want to know it's game. Nope. Alright. So this is Samuel 15, verse 7. Then Saul attacked the Amalekites all the way from Havilah to Shure, near the eastern border of Egypt. He took Agag, king of the Amalekites, alive, and all his people he totally destroyed with the sword. But Saul and the army spared Agag and the best of the sheep and cattle, the fat calves and lambs, everything that was good. Think about that for a second. These they were unwilling to destroy completely, but everything that was despised and weak they totally destroyed. Now we're gonna fast forward again. This is now verse 13. Samuel catches wind of what happened and he goes over to speak to Saul, because God was like, oh my God, this dude doesn't know how to listen. There's no way I didn't see it coming, because we all know God saw it coming, but whatever. Samuel is now coming to reprimand Saul. This is verse 13. When Samuel reached him, Saul said, the Lord bless you. I have carried the Lord's instructions. But Samuel was like, well, then what is all this bleating of the sheep in my ear? And what is this lowing of cattle? As if to say, if everything is dead, why do I still hear things alive? Saul answered, the soldiers brought them from the Amalekites. They spared the best of the sheep and the cattle to sacrifice to the Lord your God, but we totally destroyed the rest. And I'm gonna stop there because I don't think I need to go any further. And I don't even want to get into the Bible right now. I'm not going to start off with the Bible study, but I sort of wanted to introduce that and get that out the way early. Because I feel like it puts you in the same mindset that I'm operating as. Like, I'm not talking today about anything specific that's happening in the world. I'm not talking about anything specific that I've seen. It's just a combination of life as we know it right now and how I feel like it's impacting us. Because a lot of us are choosing to do right. Like, I thought I was going to be like, yo, you got to choose to do right. No, the truth is, I think a lot of us are choosing to do right. I just don't know if we're choosing to do the right thing. And it's sad to say, right? Because Saul, I always say this, right? I always look at the bad guy, the person who we're judging. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand, but let's be honest. Christians, non-believers, all religions, because to be honest with you, I feel like every religion has a biblical principle, right? I should know this, but I'm completely blanking out right now. Jewish have the Torah. Muslims, I forgot what it was called. I think I know what it is, but I just don't want to say the wrong thing and be embarrassed. So why risk it? We all have our biblical principles, and a lot of the times we read it and we see everything that everybody does incorrectly. Like with, what is it? They say hindsight is 20/20 vision. Hindsight, right? Like you're seeing what's already happened, and then you look back and you're like, oh, you should have done that. That was obviously the wrong thing to do. Come on, man. You should know better. It's easy to do that, I admit. But one thing I started doing a couple years back is that I started being honest. Hey, yo, sorry, I'm not trying to be prideful. I'm not. I don't need any trials, Lord. No pride. But I really started to try to apply myself and relate with the word. And I realized that oftentimes I relate more, or my life, like the reality. Like I can say one thing, but the truth is ultimately the actions that I take. When I look back at my testimony, the decisions that I've made, the things that I've done, it usually lines up more parallel to the wrong side of the Bible characters. Like all the wrong decisions, I see them in myself. And so it's easy to look at Saul and judge him. It's easy to look at every bad situation in the Bible and judge and be like, you should have known better. But meanwhile, it is very likely that we're making the same decisions. We're going through the same thing. We're struggling just the same. Now, nowadays we have a lot of things going on. We have Asian hate. We have, for a very long time, the battle that the black community has had with social justice. And my personal opinion on that is, I mean, if you know me, then you know, like, I think as a culture, we've put ourselves in position to fail, and it's may be our fault, may not be our fault, but we were born into a position to fail, and we live out in that same realm. Like, we live out our lives in that little bubble of failure, and we got to break out of that. The Asian hate, to be honest with you, I don't even know where this is coming from. I personally don't know. As far as I was concerned, we all loved Asian people. Like, when have Asians not been there for us? Food is delicious. TV is amazing. I mean, think about the whole Kung Fu martial arts revolution. It just changed the culture of TV, how you experience a movie, the fights and everything. It's just so much that we love. And I definitely can tell you that whether it was stirred up on purpose, right? Because it's reality. Someone is just like, oh yeah, start doing this and make this a thing, and then it blows up into a thing. And the truth is, we live in an age where everything is so connected, where one person can do something foolish, like start hating on an Asian, and it get caught on camera. But then someone else who's completely bored and just looking to do something that's gonna get them some attention, right? Has nothing to do with the fact that you're Asian, everything to do with the fact that they want some attention. They'll go ahead and they'll do it too, because someone's gonna record me and I'm gonna get attention. And we have a lot of attention deprived folks living in this generation. And so something that meant nothing easily turns into a movement, but it's not really because of what's behind the scenes. And I'm not saying that Asian hate isn't real. That's not what I'm saying. It is obviously real. It is obviously real. I see it. New York City, yo. Like, I take the train. I'm aware. What I'm saying is, I can see how easily this generation could be manipulated into being told, you now hate this. And so you hate this because you were told to hate this, but you don't even know why you really hate this. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. But getting back to the point. We oftentimes see the best in ourselves. We see the best in our decisions. We see the best in what we want. We think that we are right. And choosing to do right oftentimes ends up being the wrong thing. Choosing to do right oftentimes ends up being the wrong thing. Saul, in my personal opinion, did something that I think a lot of us would do. Saul saw what was good, he saw what was bad, and chose to save what was good. Now, you can judge me, you can say no, you can say whatever you want to say. But when we see something that our mind registers as of value, we tend to treat that thing as if it is a value. And that's exactly what Saul did. He saw a king, right? He saw fattened calves. He saw good sheep. He saw value. He saw value. Like, if God told you, turn away from, if God told you, man, how can I make this relatable to something that might actually happen? If God said, pick up the phone, call 911, because, no, it's not gonna work. If God told you to do something and you did it, and in the process of doing it, you recognize that there was a reward, you solved the case. God told you call 911 and let them know that that person that they're looking for is in this corner, and you do it, boom, and you did it. You fulfilled God's purpose, but there was a reward, and you took the reward, but you weren't allowed to take the reward. Now, that doesn't really correlate, because he was told to kill absolutely everything. Like, vividly, he disobeyed the word of God. He did. He didn't follow instructions. But he didn't follow instructions based off of what he thought was right. And what I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of moments in our lives where we don't follow instructions based off of what we think is right. And if you cannot relate with that, then I'm sorry, you're just not digging in deep enough to recognize just how hard and hurtful it is to turn your back on your moral compass. That's why they say a lot of people are going to end up in heaven that we don't expect. A lot of people are going to end up in heaven that we don't expect, because we judge them by our moral compass. You owned a slave? How could you do something like that? How could you do something like that? You're poisonous, you're sick, you're disgusting. Hell is waiting for you. Because to us, slavery is what it is. But if you were brought up in slavery, And to be honest with you, right up until honestly not that many years ago, people who were born into having slaves, it was normal to them, and their moral compass, even if they went to the Bible, there was nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with owning a slave or having a slave. You were told to treat your slave with respect. As long as you did that, you were being God honoring. Like, what do you want me to tell you? That's the truth. Right? So we might look at people who have done astonishing things. I mean, in the deprived things that are horrible, but we just don't know how broken someone really is. We don't know how much pain someone is in. We don't know how this individual was brought up. We don't know what they have endured. It's very easy to judge from the outside when we're saying you do not look like what I think you're supposed to look like, because right is this and wrong is that. And I've recognized in this walk that it's a process to mold my moral compass into God's moral compass. It's a process to sort of get rid of the idea of what I think is right. What I think is right is often not the right thing. I don't know. Let's say that again. What I think is right is often not the right thing. And is a hassle. It is a hassle. I don't think it's right that I am making this video. I don't think it's right that I've made any of the videos I've made in the past 4 weeks. Why? Because I am not taking as much time as I would like to plan them, because I don't have the time. I am not doing as much as I would like to do research and thinking and just coming up with a video that I'm going to think is incredible. I don't think I'm doing the right thing because I'm not doing my due diligence regarding each and every one of these videos. But though I don't think it's right, it may be the right thing, because yeah, maybe this video is not the best video, but maybe someone listens to it. And even if it's just one person, it helps them manage through whatever situation that they're going through. If I do what's right, I don't post the video. But is that the right thing to do? If I do what's right to me and I keep the cattle alive for myself, for my army, as how you say it in English, as a reward for their hard work and efforts, if I do what's right to me, am I doing the right thing? And I can imagine Saul being in that position. His men, everything that they've been through prior to, they've been through a couple things, right? And they get this huge victory. I honestly think that he was concerned about his fellow man. I really do think that when he put the blame on the men, part of that was honest concern, where he's thinking, well, don't they deserve something? Should I not give them some? A part of him really thought that he was doing right, although he was not doing the right thing. And for you, I don't know what the right thing is. I don't know what God has told you to do. I don't know what, and this is conflicting for me because I'm feeling super challenged saying these words. Like, it really is a double-edged sword. I can tell you these things, but in the end, every video that I make, every time I talk about something, it's really just a reminder, a cross-examination of myself, where I gotta ask myself, am I doing the right thing, or am I doing what I think is right? Because there's obviously a consequence. And that's not to scare anyone. I don't think God has set you up for failure, because Saul didn't ultimately fail because He disobeyed God. Saul failed because he never had a relationship with God, right? Let me just, I wasn't going to read this, but I guess it really does play into it. Let's see. All right, so this is verse 30. Saul admits that he did wrong after having a long conversation and being confronted by Samuel. He says, the word says, Saul replied, I have sinned, but please honor me before the elders of my people and before Israel. Come back with me so that I may worship the Lord your God. So Samuel went back with Saul, and Saul worshiped the Lord. It's very few times where you hear or you read in the text that Saul refers to God as his God. And there was always that the lack of relationship. There was always a third person, Saul, Samuel, God. I don't think it was about his failures. I think it was about the fact that Saul never got an opportunity to really connect with God, and it drove him mad. Because I think about King David, and King David made a heck of a lot of mistakes. Even so, something very similar to this, where King David takes a census of God's people in direct violation to God's instructions. And he paid a price for it, right? He paid a price for it. It was his what's the word? His disobedience was not without consequence. But why David still came to the end of his life regarded as a man after God's own heart is because Saul said, I have sinned against your God. David said, I have sinned against my God. There was a relationship. There was the I failed you, God. And whether it was I'm gonna try to do better, I want to do better, have mercy. There was just something real about that relationship that opened the opportunity up for healing, for direction, for second chances, for redemption, and all of that. I'm not sure if you're catching my drift here. What I'm really trying to say is that it's so hard trying to choose to do the right thing. And oftentimes you think you're choosing to do the right thing, but you're choosing to do what is right. Choosing to do right versus choosing to do the right thing. Two different things. But they're so closely related that it gets rough. We need more people who are willing to stand up and do the right thing. I was in a situation a couple weeks back where, there are two Asian females off to one side of the train station, and I'm near them, and then someone just comes in and he's just going off on them. I think to myself, what is the right thing to do? Now, I'm surrounded by a bunch of guys, right? Everybody's recognizing what's happening. Everybody's uncomfortable. No one's happy. I can imagine that I wasn't the only person trying to figure out what is right and what is the right thing, because I can get up and I can fight this guy, and I can stand at the defense of these defenseless women. Is that right? Is that the right thing to do? Legally speaking, the minute I put my hands on someone, I've committed assault. Doesn't matter what happens. If I'm the initiator, I'm at fault. Legally speaking, that is not the right thing to do. But me sitting back while I watch someone get abused, now is that the right thing to do? because I'm obeying the law now. You know what I mean? Which is right, and what's right, and what is the right thing? Oftentimes you've heard of this. You see someone is in a toxic relationship, or someone is fighting depression, suicidal thoughts. Look at everything that's happening in this world. The George Floyd and the response to the police. Should I hate on the police to stand up for what is right? Is what is right currently the right thing to do? It opens up a world of questions. And the truth is that for me, I can't find the answer. And oftentimes, all of this just comes together to I don't want to say it. This is how this is my process. This is my current solution to this problem. Do I get into somebody's business? I've done that before, by the way, right? Get into somebody's business because I'm afraid for their health. It felt like I did the right thing, but it also didn't feel like I did right. See someone in an abusive relationship and you want to help them, and you get in the middle of it. Feels like you're doing the right thing, doesn't feel like you're doing right. Then there are times where I do what I think is and feels right, and it ends up I'm not doing the right thing. I get upset. Oh, someone's checking out my girl. Oh, you got problems, bro? You got problems, bro? It feels like I'm doing the right thing and defending my honor, her honor, and being prideful in that way, letting people know like what's good. But it wasn't the right thing. My solution to these moments, to this life, has been, I hate to say it, but prayer. I just pray every morning, try to pray it every night. Is God, I don't know what is right or wrong. I don't know what situation I'm going to end up in today. I just pray that if I got to fight, you may give me the strength to win. Pray that you may keep me at the right place in the right time in this crazy world, free from all the randomness and the craziness. Pray you may protect me, you may be with me, you may guide me and my family and my loved ones. Pray that you may help me to be a positive influence over this world today. Help me to be a spiritual breath of fresh air for those around me. Help me to help those who need help in any capacity that I can help. Help me to do what I can. I don't know if I'm going to do what's right, God, but I pray that by your mercy, you may help me to do what is right. You may help me to do the right thing. In my efforts to do right, God, I pray that you may help me to do the right thing. And then I go about my day doing what I feel and doing what I know to be right. It's not just about the feel. I've been walking this Christian walk for years now, and I've done a lot of studying. I've done a lot of Bible reading. I've taken a lot of notes. I look at where others failed, and I try to learn from their mistakes. And I take these notes in life, like these weekly things every week. I'm taking a new lesson that I'm applying to my life so that I know what is the right thing versus what is right. And it takes work. But I think that's part of the process that's building you up to become the person that you're trying to be, because it's supposed to be a process. It won't happen overnight. You won't know. David was king, was the king for years, and he still made that mistake. He still disobeyed. It's a rookie mistake. He should have known better, but he still did it. And it's just learning and waking up every morning, trying trying to do right, choosing to do right, choosing to do right. Because I know for a fact that there are moments where you choose to do right, blows up in your face, and you just stop choosing to do right. It is frustrating. It is hurtful. It is scary. But we got to choose to do right in hopes that we're choosing to do the right thing. You're never going to do the right thing if you're choosing to do wrong, if you're choosing to do evil, if you're choosing to do nothing. Those things have their consequences. Align yourself with the word. Align yourself with wisdom. Align yourself with knowledge of others. Align yourself with good people. People who you feel are heading in the direction that you're trying to go to, and just choose to do right. And that's it, yo. I'm gonna stop now before I get into another Bible verse and we end up with a 50-minute long video. It's your boy Sam with Vertical Expressions. Thank you so much for joining me. So glad that I did this one because I needed to hear it. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Meow, 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 meow. Peace.